Hello everyone, hope you are doing well. Welcome to the Data Analytics Bootcamp 2026 free course where we are going to learn about three important Excel formulas which will come into advanced Excel. And these three formulas are: first is your SUMIFS, second is your COUNTIFS, and third will be your AVERAGEIFS. And these three important formulas are from advanced Excel where you will learn each and everything. So simply if I tell you, you have learned about SUMIF, AVERAGEIF and COUNTIF. These three formulas are used whenever there is only one condition. But if you have multiple conditions to like sum up or average or count, then you will use these formulas. These formula are very important in terms of advanced Excel. So let's get started. Okay, so ifs function are very important functions where you will create an aggregate function with multiple conditions. Like we have learned about sum, average, count. These are the basic functions that we'll use in daily life. Plus if we have some condition, then we'll use SUMIF, AVERAGEIF or COUNTIF. But if you have multiple conditions, then what you will do? For that you will use ifs. If you know about ifs, that we are going to see in probably next lecture. Next is pivot table, and after that we are going to see conditions and conjunctions. In that lecture I am going to tell you how you can use ifs. Okay, ifs means you will get multiple conditions over there and you can use that in your regular functions. Okay, we'll talk about that. It is an advanced function in Excel, but right now we are talking about ifs functions. Okay, in ifs functions I am talking about SUMIF, AVERAGEIF and COUNTIFs. Okay, now if I want to tell you, let me show you this example. So here you can see I have this table having ABC column. In A column there is region, B column is month and C column is sales. Okay, now I want to check what is the sales, total sales without any month or region. I don't want to consider that. Then I will use only sum formula where I'll write sum is equals to this range C1 to C4 and I'll get my answer. Okay, this is only for the sales calculation. Now I want to calculate, let's say I want to calculate sales for Jan month. Then I'll use SUMIF formula. In SUMIF formula I will select the condition and I will select the range. Okay, range I will select C1 to C4, and in condition I will select Jan should be the month should be Jan. That means B1 should be the Jan. Okay, and then I will use that formula to calculate Jan sales and then I will get the answer. But if I ask you, I want to see the region should be East, and in month of Jan how much sales we have done in the region of East. And that is the problem here we are going to solve, which is they are asking region should be East and month should be January. For that we will use SUMIFS formula because we have multiple conditions. So according to the syntax of this formula, the formula should be in this way. First is your sum range. You need to select the sum range. So here you can see our C2 to C5 is our sum range. So you can see here in example also I have mentioned C2 to C5 as a sum range. Then criteria 1, criteria range 1. So what is criteria range? Criteria range should be, first should be your East. So your A2 to A5, that means A2 to A5 should be East. Okay, this is our first condition. And second is month of January. So here your B2 to B5 should be Jan. Okay, so this is the condition, and after entering this formula you will get this answer 15,000. Okay, and this is the calculation of sales East month in Jan. So you can manually do it here. East Jan 10,000, East Jan 5,000. So total will be 15,000 and that will be your answer. Now we'll solve two problems on the basis of this formula. Okay, you remember this formula, it's very easy and clear. SUMIF and in bracket you should mention the sum range, then criteria 1, criteria range 1, and then criteria 1, and then criteria range 2, criteria 2, comma criteria range 3. Like that you can mention multiple criterias. Now we have some data over here and we are going to solve it. Okay, now how we can solve it? First of all, we are going to solve SUMIFS. Okay, so here we are going to write the formula. They're asking calculate total sales for where region should be East. So this region should be East and category should be electronics. So this category should be electronics. Okay, so I'm writing the formula here. SUMIFS. Here you can see SUMIFS. Okay, SUMIFS. And what I am selecting the sum range. So what they are asking to calculate the total sales. So I am selecting this total sales and I am locking this. You can use F4 if you are using desktop version, or you can use this dollar sign in between this numbers. Okay, and then I am putting comma because our syntax is saying, you can see syntax over here, your sum range comma criteria range 1. So criteria range 1 will be this one. Okay, again I am locking this series. Then they are asking it should be ist. So in double inverted comma I am writing ist. See, here you have put down your sum range, then you have put down your criteria range 1 and your criteria. In second, I'll put the criteria range 2, which is the category thing. So I'm selecting here the category. I am locking this range here, comma. Then I am using, which is our second criteria, which is electronics. Double inverted comma and bracket complete. As right now we have only two criteria. First should be your this C column, which is region, should be ist, and your category should be electronics, that I have selected here and I am writing. Okay, and this is your answer. Okay, 1,35,135K is your answer, final answer. Okay, for this, where we are calculating total sales amount for east region and electronics category. Now similarly we'll solve the second question where they are asking for calculate the total sales for product, laptop and region is north. So this ranges can be changed, so don't worry about the range. So first you can put any criteria, like in first example we have put region as a criteria, in second we are putting product as a criteria, and then we are using region. Okay, so this interchange of the criteria doesn't matter. Okay, your answer will be right. There will be no effect on your answer because of this criteria interchange. Okay, so here I am writing formula again, SUMIFS. Okay, here sum range should be this one, our cells. Okay, you need to log this. I'll write the formula first and then I'll log that series. Okay, then we need to find product as a laptop. So product should be laptop one. Okay, so comma, in bracket I'm writing laptop, comma. Second criteria is region should be north, so I'm selecting region here. Okay, and should be north, and I am fixing the range again. Now I'm clicking on enter, and here is your answer. Okay, you can verify your answer here. So we are asking laptop, so this is the laptop, 1 2 3. These three are the products where there is a laptop, and they're asking for north, so this is north. Only 55,000 will be the answer. Okay, because only in north laptop is once only and it is showing 55,000. So this is the use of SUMIF function. If you have any doubt, please let me know in comment box. You can rewatch this video, okay, and you can solve your doubts by your own. Also you can use AI tool like ChatGPT to solve your formula errors. It will help you and it will give you suggestions also. So this was about SUMIFs. Now we'll talk about AVERAGEIFS. So AVERAGEIFS will use to get an average on multiple conditions. So if we have 2-3 more conditions like SUMIF, then we'll use this. For example, in this example I am telling you here average marks of subject is equals to math and class 10. So they are asking you need to find the average marks where subject should be a math and class should be a 10. Okay, so 10th class math subject you need to find the average. Okay, syntax will be very similar. Okay, where you will find the AVERAGEIFS will be your starting of your formula. Then here in SUMIFS we used to use sum range, and here we are using average range. Then criteria range 1 and criteria 1, then criteria range 2, criteria 2, criteria range 3, criteria 3, so on. Okay, this will be your syntax. Okay, so to solve this problem, what I'll do, I need to find the average marks of subject maths and the class should be 10. For that I will select the range. First of all, according to formula, the formula is asking for average range, so average range should be our marks. So I'll select D2 to D5 as a average range, and then I will select the first criteria. So here I have selected first criteria, which is class is equals to 10, because asking class is equals to 10. So B2 to B5 is equals to 10, B2 to B5 is equals to 10, and C2 to C5 should be math. So second condition is math, then C2, so C5 should be math. Okay, and we have used this and the answer it is giving is 85. Because this table is very small, then you can easily see math 10th class, math 10th class, 80 plus 90 is equal to 170 and divided by 2 is equals to 85. So this will be your answer. Now we'll solve the AVERAGEIFS with the example. Okay, for that I have these two examples that we need to solve. Find the average sales for category should be furniture and region should be west. Now here I am writing the formula which is average if. So average ifs and average range should be your find the average sales. Okay, so for that sales I am going to select, then comma, then your first criteria should be category is equals to furniture. So your category is here and I am selecting this, okay, comma, and I am using furniture. Okay, then I am using region is equals to west. So this is your region and I am selecting region, okay, and it should be west and the bracket complete. If I see the formula, okay, so first is our average range. Average range I have selected here, average range I have selected here, which is cells. Then this is our first criteria range that I have selected here, which is category, okay, E3 to E10, which should be furniture. And this is criteria range 2 where I am selecting the region area and there it should be a west. Then I am locking all the cells again. It is very important to lock your all cells, because if you are not locking these cells, it will collect the data from the blank cells also and your average will not be correct. So that's why it's very important to lock your range. And this is your answer, which is 12,000. Okay, 12,000 is your answer. So it is very evident. You can cross check this, you can solve this. You will get the link into the description to download this PPT as well as Excel sheet. Now next is find average units sold. So here again our formula will be average ifs and the average range should be this units, because this time they are asking for units sold. Okay, you can log this again, comma, your first criteria is region should be east. So this is our region. Okay, you can log the cell again, comma, it should be east, comma, second is category should be electronics. So I am selecting category, again locking the cells and bracket complete. Again I am going to explain this formula how I written. First is your average range. Average range should be your units. Then second will be your first criteria, which is region should be east. So I have selected region and it should be east, and then it should be a criteria category, and in category it should be electronics. And if I write the click enter, then it will give me answer. I can remove these decimals and the answer will be 6.7. the average is 6.7 units sold in the region of east in the category of electronic. I hope you understood average ifs also. Now we'll discuss about COUNTIFs. Okay, so next function is COUNTIFs, and COUNTIFs is we are using to count how many times this record is appearing in our sheet. Okay, and this is again important to count it multiple times. You need to count your rows multiple times, you need to count your product and other things. So this will help you to do that. Now this formula is little different from the average ifs and the SUMIFS, because in SUMIFS we used to select the sum range and in average if we used to select the average range. Okay, so here your formula directly starts with COUNTIFs and then it will jump to directly criteria range 1 and you will select the criteria, then criteria range 2 and criteria 2. Like this it will be again criteria range 3, criteria 3 and so on. Now let's understand with the help of example. So you can see here this is the problem that we are going to solve. First they are asking is the counter number of students who scored greater than or equal to 60 and gender is male. Okay, these are two criteria and according to our formula it will be very straightforward. First is criteria range should be 1. First is your criteria range 1 and then criteria 1. Okay, so here we are writing, so first is our B2 to B5, which is this B2 to B5, it should be male. Okay, because they are asking gender as a male, and scored should be greater than or equal to 60. So your score should be greater than or equal to 60, which is this D2 to D5, which is D2 to D5 should be your grade. Okay, and here if you write the formula and if you enter it, it will give you 2 as answer. So they are counting as a 2. Okay, and this will be your example. Now we'll solve everything with the help of our example, where I have a table and these are our question. First, count number of records where category is equals to your electronics and sales should be greater than 40,000. Okay, so I'm writing here. So our formula will be COUNTIFs. Okay, this is COUNTIFs I'm writing here. Okay, COUNTIFs, our criteria 1 is category should be electronics, so I am selecting category. and locking the cells, and it is asking for electronics. Second criteria is cells, which is I'm selecting cells here. Okay, it should be greater than or equal to 40,000. Okay, so this is greater than or equal to 40,000. Please remember one thing, that first you need to lock the range, then you need to put your criteria 1, then criteria range 2 and criteria 2. Now whenever you're putting anything which is in numbers or something, then again you need to put this into double inverted comma for this function. Okay, for other function, if you are writing the numbers, no need to write double inverted comma, but in this function you need to write double inverted comma. Okay, and I'm clicking enter here and it is showing 3, where so there are total 3 values, this one, okay, second one and third one, where your sales is more than 40,000 rupees and the category is electronics. Okay, and the answer is 3, which is correct. Now last question we are going to solve, and I will give all these sheets into the description, you can go there and download, which is count number of records where region is equals to north and unit is greater than equal to 4. Okay, so I'm writing the formula again here, COUNTIFS. Okay, COUNTIFS where the region is north. Okay, so the region is north, I'm writing here region is north, comma, the units should be greater than or equal to 4. Okay, and again I am locking the ranges over here. Let me explain you again this thing. First is our criteria 1 range, where I am selecting criteria 1 range here. Okay, region. Second, it should be north. Okay, criteria 1 should be north. Second criteria range, which is unit, it should be greater than equal to 4. Okay, and I'm clicking on the enter and it is showing 2 as an answer. Okay, so according to this you can use these functions and solve your problems. Okay, and this is the quick summary about SUMIFS. So SUMIFS you will use whenever you want to add values with multiple conditions. AVERAGEIFS you will use whenever you want to average values with the multiple conditions, and COUNTIFS you are using when you need to count records with multiple conditions. And the syntax is very simple, where you will start with simple SUMIFS formula and you need to mention sum range, criteria range 1, criteria 1, criteria range 2, criteria 2, criteria range 3, criteria 3, and so on. Okay, similarly for AVERAGEIFS you need to write AVERAGEIFS, then average range, criteria range 1, criteria 1, criteria range 2, criteria 2, criteria range 3, and criteria 3. Okay, for the AVERAGEIFS. But COUNTIFS you don't need to select average range or sum range like this. There is no count range for this formula. It will directly start with criteria range 1, criteria 1, criteria range 2, and criteria 2. Okay, so I hope you guys have understood each and everything. So we'll see you in next lecture. In next lecture we'll be learning about pivot tables.